It was time to celebrate our wedding anniversary with a trip to Edinburgh. We hadn't been for a few years. I was going by car and the wife was going by train. I had 3 routes to choose from, the quickest going up the west side of the country, which was mainly motorway with a little bit of single carriageway route. The A1 was the second quickest, which goes to single carriageway after Berwick upon Tweed. But my favourite route was even though it's the shortest route, was the longest to travel. This was mainly because a third of it was going through villages and single carriageway routes. So, reluctantly, I was taking the west coast this time, which meant that there was around about 10 minutes in it. So, who was going to win? Well, it's 6:16, it's either not for me or they're setting off a little bit late. Let's head off.
At the lights, turn left onto the A62, then bear left towards the A629 and Halifax.
Already, the lights were against me. But still to get to the motorway at this point, which is still a good few miles away. But with the magic of editing, we can cut down a little bit on the tedium of the journey. You would have thought that it would have been reasonably quiet on the motorway at this time, but nobody told everybody else that.
For 20 miles, continue straight on.
This could be a very dull video. Meanwhile, on the train, at least the train wasn't being slowed down by roadworks. Yep, back with the roadworks. Despite the sat-nav being convinced that the speed limit was 70, none of the variable speed limit signs ever came close. At least, not until we got a bit closer to Manchester.
Becky Ramage.
Hello!
Hello, have you reached Leeds yet?
You what?
Have you reached Leeds yet?
No, because I'm not going that way.
You are, sorry?
I'm not going that way.
Let me check Leeds. Yeah, I'm looking at the board for Edinburgh at the minute. It's like, everything else has got the platform on, mine hasn't got the platform on.
Yeah,
I hope it goes on soon.
it will do.
Take a look.
Okay.
Otherwise I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Well.
Alright. Well, I'll let you go.
Alright then.
Okay.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Tickets are not valid this early on the morning. Tickets
The train.
are
Made the train to Edinburgh.
Country, Northern, or Trans-Pennine Express, I'm afraid not.
I was finally off the M62 and M60 and just joining the M61. The next part of the journey, the M6. Oh, the joys.
Settle the car a little bit.
Use the left 2 lanes to take exit 2 to merge onto the M61 towards Preston.
That's what I'm doing.
21 miles, continue straight on.
That's the plan. By comparison, the M61 was fairly quiet compared to the M62 and the M60. But of course, we still had the M6 to contend with, and it was still pretty dark.
Continue onto the M6. For 98 miles, continue straight on.
98 miles of the M6 wasn't exactly an exciting prospect, but at least when I'd got to the end of that, I would actually be across the Scottish border. The problem was that despite it being dark and still fairly early in the morning, the M6 was just as busy as the M62 and the M60 had been, which wasn't the easiest of things to navigate sometimes. In the meantime, though, my wife had been through York, and it was starting to get a bit lighter. I'd just passed the Lancaster services and was passing the Morecambe turn-off, and my wife was now progressing quite nicely towards the north of England. At this point, it was still anybody's race.
For 65 miles, continue straight on.
Then, 65 miles, you go on to the M74. And we're actually then in Scotland. Ironically, as it got brighter, the motorway became clearer. Wow, clearish motorway. Clearish! Yippee! Kind of enjoying this a bit. Meanwhile, Newcastle. I'm a couple of miles off Carlisle, so I'm just heading to the Scottish border. I'm about 30 miles from it.
Carlisle, that sounds like you're winning then.
We'll see. But yeah, I'm about 30 miles off Carlisle, and yeah. Then once I pass there, I'm on the M74 up to, well, heading towards Glasgow. Still there?
I'm still here, just got some questions for you.
Okay.
I'll let you go.
Alright then. See you later.
See you later.
Bye. Doing better than I thought. I've still got to cut across country though. I'll probably be in Scotland before Becky, but I've got to cut across the country yet. Whereas she's on the right side of the country.
While I had to concentrate on the road, Becky found other ways to keep herself entertained and amused on the journey.
I'm closer to Carlisle than I thought. I'm about 30 miles off the Scottish border.
Meanwhile, it was good at least to see that Bob had his own ticket, so at least he was travelling legally. I, on the other hand, was about to do an impromptu weather update for the journey.
Owing to the fact it was raining and all grey, probably turned the camera around so you can see some of the stuff that I used to drive past. Look! It's all grey and dull and yeah. How's the song go again? Oh, that's it. Dull, 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 dull.
It might well be dull, but I was making progress. I was now less than 20 miles off the Scottish border and getting closer all the time. Then it would be onto the A74M for about 40 miles or so before cutting across country to head towards Edinburgh. Things were still tight.
Hey Siri, send a message to Becky Ramage. We're in Scotland.
What do you want to say?
We're in Scotland.
Your message to Becky Ramage says, we're in Scotland. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
Oh, you take the east coast and I'll take the west coast and I'll be in Scotland before you.
Which was all good and well, but I still had to get across country, and that was the point that, if anything, was going to slow me down. Meanwhile, Bob was enjoying the view from the train, which, I have to say, was better than the view I had. But all that was about to change, especially with the next phone call.
Becky Ramage.
Hello!
Hello, how do you manage to make it to Scotland before me?
Well, I'm on the M74 and I've passed Lockerbie. That's how.
Right.
Have you been through Berwick
Very
yet?
quickly.
Yeah, you.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm catching up now.
Well, you're built to go faster than me because my top speed that I'm allowed is 70 miles an hour.
So is this one start overtaking now?
Probably. Don't forget, I've got to cut across the country because I've gone up the west side rather than the east side.
Okay, so what are you now?
I don't know. All I know is I'm on the A74M and I'm heading towards Glasgow and I'm about 50 miles off Edinburgh.
Wow, okay.
That's a guess, but I can't see the sat nav now because the phone's on.
Alright, I'll let you go. See you again.
Okay then.
Alright.
See you later. Bye!
So Becky was leaving Berwick, which gave me a chance to say a little anecdote about the place.
So, Berwick upon Tweed. Because there is a common belief that because Berwick is effectively, well, its own little principality, and that it never actually declared peace against Germany after the Second World War, so it's still technically at war with Germany. Absolute rubbish, but it's a nice story to tell. Berwick upon Tweed, the last place the war's been fought. Unless, of course, you're a Japanese serviceman who's still in the jungle somewhere. Which has happened.
I was now rapidly approaching the A702 turn-off, which meant that my advantage of being on the motorway would vanish. Just how were things going to work out? Initially, pretty good, and I have to say the views were absolutely stunning. Becky was now going through Morpeth, which, while still on the English side of the border, was nothing compared to what I was seeing on the Scottish side of the border. Absolutely nothing could spoil this now. Well, almost nothing.
This is a bit of a problem on roads like this. Doesn't matter whether you're in Scotland or wherever. If you get stuck behind a wagon or something like that, there's very few places to pass. And the problem is, if you've got a number of other vehicles in front of you, passing becomes that bit more difficult because you need a nice long straight road that you can see all the way down to find out if it's even remotely possible to pass them all. And I don't think I'm going to get one of them for another 30 miles or so.
Meanwhile, over the border, on the train,
Damn it. Still, at least it's no longer dull.
while that was true, I still had a way to go. And let's face it, the train wasn't going to get delayed that much. So, what was happening on the train?
Becky Ramage.
Hello!
Hello, just want to let you know next stop is Edinburgh.
Okay, well mine is as well.
Oh, this is exciting, man. Just left Dunbar. I've got a little friend called Bob. Bob was very excited to visit Dunbar. Yeah, dog's been on the journey with me.
Ah, I like Dunbar.
Yeah. But yeah, I had to create some way of conveying messages because I couldn't really talk to the camera through my mouth. And also I'm too shy, I didn't want to.
Okay.
So Bob's been presenting.
Okay.
Right then.
Alright then.
See you in Edinburgh.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Dunbar was the point where the train and the A1 had I taken it headed westward into the centre of Edinburgh. Now, while Becky was technically going to get there before me, she still had to walk up to the hotel, which was a fair way from the actual station itself. So this could even things up. The problem I had, though, was I was still a lot further south than I really liked. But at least the weather was holding up. Mostly.
Oh, nearly in Edinburgh now. 10 minutes.
Edinburgh Waverley. Change here for trains to Glasgow Central and Inverness.
I was at least closing in on the Edinburgh bypass and had less than 10 miles to go before I actually reached the hotel car park. This was going to be close.
Use the left lane and then left.
Yes.
Despite getting closer to my destination, things were still incredibly tight. For starters, I had traffic lights to contend with now which I didn't have before. Just where was Becky?
Becky Ramage.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, welcome. I'm not telling you where I am.
Are you in the bar?
I'm not telling you.
Okay. Are you in the station at least?
I might be in the station.
Okay.
Right. Russia.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
Alright then. See you
Bye.
then. Bye.
a mile, turn right onto East Preston Street. Go past these lights, then at the next set, turn right. At the next lights, turn left.
Less than a mile. Less than a mile.
At the lights, turn left onto Dalkeith Road. In 3/4 of a mile, the destination is on your left, the H1 1TA. In half a mile, the destination is on your left, the H1 1TA.
Not far now. Is North Bridge closed? Oh, shoot.
Oh my god, Captain Totty's still there. Woo! Who's gonna win?
Left here, then straight right. And we're in the car park. Apparently. Well, we would be if that van wasn't in the way.
You know what, guys? I actually don't genuinely think it'll be me that wins. I think this walk's gonna be my fail. Come on now, lights.
Right. You can come with me. I'm all stiff with the sitting down all. all the way. One minute. Sort out the ticket in a minute. Not yet. Can't get in that way anymore. Now I've got to go round. If I'd have known about this, I'd have parked on the front gate. Still, I can't do that now, can I? I used to be able to get in the back. Now they've sealed it off as a fire exit. You know, it was a lot easier last time we came. A lot easier.
Oh. Hello. I thought you were going to come in that door and I was like...
I can't. Can't because that's fire exit now.
Hello.
Hello.
What? Yeah.
Don't ask.
All right. Okay.